Hello students, in this video we are going to discuss about the ring topology. So let us understand how exactly the ring topology works. So here you can see currently in my network there are 4 nodes which are being connected to each other. Okay. Here in this ring topology, each node has been connected to only to its 2 neighboring nodes. Okay, so this node is connected to only its 2 neighboring nodes. This node has been connected to only its 2 of the neighboring nodes, and this node is connected to only of these 2 neighboring nodes, and this node is also connected to only of its 2 neighboring nodes. So each node has been connected to only its 2 neighboring nodes, and the data has been transmitted around this ring. Okay, the data has been transmitted around this ring from one node to the another. Okay, and then here the data gets through each node. Okay, the data gets through each node, and hence your data has been transmitting in only one directional. That means the flow of the data is in unidirectional. Now data cannot flow it in the bidirectional, right? Clockwise and anti-clockwise it cannot do. Okay, it has to follow only one direction. Here you can see the arrow mark. This is the nothing but it is showing how the flow of message. That means the packet move from one node to the another. Next the packet arrives here. Next the packet arrives here. Next the packet arrives here. When again the same packet will come to the sender node, and the sender node will discard that packet. Okay, I hope you are understanding, right? And then here one more thing we have to concentrate is that as the data packet is moving from each node, from one node to the another node in the form of ring, okay, each node has the capability to amplify the data packet. Amplify in the sense nothing but strengthening the signal of your data packet. Now let me explain with an example. So let me consider this has to be the source and this has to be the destination. Now this node will send in a data packet. Okay, so data packet again it consists of the some amount of bits to be sent, and it also considers the source IP address and this destination IP address. Now the sender sends the data packet. The data packet has to pass through this cable. Now here the cable can be coaxial cable or it can be fiber optics also. Fiber optics, I'll just tell why fiber optics is being used. Okay, so here the data can be coaxial cable or the fiber optics. Your data packet has to pass through this cable and then reach to the next neighboring node. When the data packets arrive here, it examines for its IP address. Now the data packet IP address doesn't match with the destination IP address of this node, isn't it? Immediately it will not discard and transmit that data packet. Instead, the data packet will undergo amplification. This node will amplify your data packet. Amplify in the sense, because your data packet has traveled through this distance, the signal of your data packet will be weakened. Okay, this amplifier will enhance the capacity or strengthen the signal capacity, and then this node will forward the packet to its neighboring node. When the data packets arrive here, again it will match its packet IP address and the destination IP address here. Doesn't match, immediately instead of forwarding, again your data packet will be amplified. That means because your data packet has been traveled through certain distance in the cable, the strength of that data packet may be weak. In order to enhance, okay, your data packet will undergo the amplification. Okay, and then again your data packet will reach to the next neighboring node. Okay, so this node will forward your data packet to the next neighboring node. So when the data packet arrives here, this destination IP, this node IP address and the destination IP address on your packet will match. Obviously that data packet will be copied onto the destination IP address, and then again a copy of your data packet will undergo the amplification, and then your data packet finally reaches to the sender node, and then the sender node will discard that IP packet from your network. Now this is how exactly the ring topology works. Okay, I hope it is clearly understood. With one more example if I need to explain. Now let us consider this as the source and this is only as the destination. Fine. Your data packets will move from the sender. Your data packets arrive here because the IP address of that IP in which is there in the packet and the destination IP address matches. The data packet will be copied, and again the data IP packet will be amplified. Again that data packet will be moved to the next neighboring node. IP destination and IP address doesn't match, again it will go under amplification, that is by using amplifier. That means it will strengthen the signal strength of the data packet. Again it will forward. Again here it will check for IP address, doesn't match. Again it will undergo amplification, and again this node will forward to the source node. Always your data packet will reach to the sender, and the sender will discard the data packet from the ring topology. Okay, next, this is how the working of the ring topology will takes place. Now let us see the advantages of the ring topology. The first one is short cable length. That means you can see we have using very short cable length, and the cable might be coaxial cable or the fiber optics. Coaxial cable is the cable which we are using in the TV cables, and the fiber optics cables would be I'll just show you the fiber optics cables. Now this is coaxial cable. This is a cable which you are using in the TV cable, and this is how the fiber optics. Now this is the fiber optics cable. You can see the in fiber optics cables, the cable are just very thin than your hair strand, and whatever the data transmission is in the form of light. Okay, that is why the ring topology is quite popular, because it is the way that it is using the cable as fiber optics. If we are using, we have a higher transmission speed comparatively the twisted pair or the coaxial cable. Now this is what is the twisted pair I was telling. This is the twisted pair which we are going to use in our telephone cable, telephone wire. What is there? Nothing but the twisted pair. These are the twisted pair. Or at your home appliances also, these kinds of twisted pair we are going to use. So these are the three different kinds of cables that we are using in our network. Okay, so we were discussing about the advantages of the ring topology, right? So that's here. Yeah, the shortest cable length, that means the amount of the cable which we are using in the ring topology is quite comparable to that of the previous, that is the bus on, and it is relatively smaller to that comparatively to the star topology. And since we are using very less cable, obviously we know that we need a very less connections, and if there is less connection, obviously there will be it will be very reliable from a hardware point of view. There will be very less amount of failures that may occur in this, because we are using a very short cable length wiring. Fine. The next advantage is that is the no wiring closet space required. That means just you are using a very short cable length, so you need not to allocate any kind of a space in your building in order to maintain your cables. That is what no wiring closet space required, because here each node is being connected to just its neighboring nodes. Okay, and hence we doesn't need any kind of space in order to maintain these kinds of the lengthier cables. Okay, next one is it is very much suitable for the fiber optics. By using fiber optics, we have that possibility to reach a very high speed transmission. That is why ring topology makes use of the fiber optics or the coaxial cable. In olden days we used to have with the coaxial cable, but now if we are using we are using ring topology mostly in case of the WANs. Okay, and if we are using that, then obviously we are using nowadays with the optical fibers cables. Okay, now let us move on towards here disadvantages of the ring topology. The first one is the very important is a node failure causes the network failure. Node failure causes network failure in the sense, suppose think that now this is a faulty node in the sense a defective node which is may not be working for us. Okay, so wherein all the three other nodes are working and one node is not working. Now let us consider this to be source and this to be destination. So will you think that your data packet will be it will reach to the destination and again destination to the sender, and the sender where has to discard that packet? Okay, as your data packet may reach to this node, but your data packet may also reach to this node, but that this node is a faulty node. It cannot accept the data, neither it will be capable of forwarding your data packet. Just because of one faulty node or the one defective node, your entire network fails. The working of entire network will come down. That is what node failure causes the network failure. Next is difficult to diagnose fault. Now, in case of this, consider source and let us consider this to be as the destination. So when your data packet is not being reached to the destination and when it is again not reached by the sender, so how will you examine, how you will come to know which among these three nodes, which are the faulty nodes? You cannot immediately make out. Instead, you need to check all the adjacent nodes among these three. You need to check all these adjacent nodes. Hence, we can say it is very much difficult to diagnose faults. If there are less number of nodes onto your topology, fine, it may not take much time. But if your network topology, your ring topology is having more number of nodes, obviously it takes time to check all the adjacent nodes. Next one is the network reconfiguration is difficult. Why network reconfiguration? I hope you at least have understood what is the terminology reconfiguration means. It is nothing but enhancing the network capacity. Right now my network capacity is 4. If I want to make it 5 or if I want to make it 6, one thing you need to have is the cable, other thing you need to have is the node. Apart from that, if I want to enhance or if I want to add the new node to this my network, I need to disconnect the network. And once if you are disconnecting means you are disconnecting this cable. Okay, at some point, maybe here, at some point you're disconnecting, you will add one more cable and you will bring one more new node here. That means if you're reconfiguring the network, you have to completely shut down your network working. Your working of your network has to stop for a certain period of time until you make a new connection for your new node. Okay, so that is what the network reconfiguration is quite difficult. Until and unless you add the new node with the cable and everything, you cannot restart the working of your network. So this is one of the disadvantage of the ring topology. This tree topology is a variation of the bus topology and the star topology. So this tree topology has been made up of the backbone cable, which is nothing but made up of the coaxial cable. You can see this diagram here. Looking at this, you can make out this is similar to that of what we have studied in the bus topology. Okay, so this main cable, that is which is made up of coaxial cable, it has been divided into sub branches, and again these sub branches are divided till the extremities of the networks. Extremities of the networks in the sense it has been divided till the end of the networks. And here the transmission of the data packets is very much similar to that of the bus. So let us see the working here. Now let us consider this to be as the sender and this to be as the receiver. Okay, the data packets, when the sender sends, okay, the packet first reaches to the nearest hub. A copy of that packet will be sent to this node and to this node, as well as a copy of that packet comes to the cable. Now that packet has the capacity to travel along the length of this cable. Okay, so when the copy of packet arrives at this point, again it will be received by the hub in turn a copy of that packet will be given to its connecting nodes, as well as a same copy will be forwarded to the nearest hub, and this nearest hub again it will distribute a same copy of the packet to its connecting nodes. So wherever the IP packet matches, now we have considered this to be as the destination. When the copy of the packet arrives to this hub, so it sends the copy of the packet to its connecting node. When the packet comes here, IP address matches and the packet will be copied onto its disk. Okay, suppose think that we don't find the IP address onto this tree topology where the sender has sent, right? So in that case, what happens, that packet keeps on moving. It will go, a copy of that packet will be moving on to all the hubs will send it, and none of the nodes will accept the data. Instead, a copy of that packet keeps on, transmitting over the cable. At that point of the time, there will be the terminators. Okay, these terminators will they will accept the unwanted data signals, isn't it? Okay, if the packets doesn't find its IP address, then such kinds of the data packets will be absorbed by these terminators. Okay, now these kinds of this kind of topology is being used in the applications where there is a hierarchical flow of data and control, where I have more than one network connected to each other. Like I have the bus topology, star topology, okay, where we have the combination where the data has to flow in the form of hierarchical. Okay, in that cases, when I want to mix two different kinds of the nodes, and when I have to enhance my network capacity, okay, so in that case we are using the tree topology. Okay, then let us move on to the next one, that is the graph topology. So graph topology, actually, here the nodes are being connected in the arbitrary fashion. Okay, so here in graph topology, the nodes have been connected in the arbitrary fashion. Okay, so arbitrary fashion in the sense they don't have a specific kind of layout like how we have for the star topology, bus topology, or the ring topology. We have tree topology. We have a certain kind of layout for it, but graph topology doesn't have any kind of layout. They are just arbitrarily, randomly, they are being connected to each other. The nodes are being randomly connected. So there may be maybe a link in order to connect two different nodes. That means link in the sense that is the path. Okay, now this is what I can call it as the link or the path. Now this hub is providing the link in order to connect to this particular node. So there may exist one or more links in order to connect two or more nodes, and there might be multiple links also. That means if there are 5 nodes, all the nodes may be connected with each other. That means in order to reach to the second node, I may have 2 links. In order to reach to the third node, I may have 3 links, or I may have only 1 link. And it is not necessary in the graph topology that all the nodes have been connected to each other. Fine. Next thing is the path which has been established in 2 nodes by 1 or more links. Then I can call it as fully connected graph. Suppose if I have 5 nodes and all the 5 nodes are being connected to each other, then I can say it's a complete connected graph. Fine. So next topology we are discussing is about the mesh topology. So in this mesh topology, every node has been connected to each and every other node by making use of the direct link or by making use of an alternative link. Here, let me tell you with an example. Now, let me consider this as to be the source and this as to be the destination node. So, my data packet can directly move here to the destination by using this direct link, or my data packet may take an alternative path. That means the data packet may arrive to this node, and then from this node it may go to this node. That means it is taking an alternative path. So when here each and every node has been connected to each and every other node either by using direct link or an alternative path, then I can say that my network is fully connected, and I can use the term here as fully connectivity. So in the previous graph topology we have studied that if in graph topology the nodes, if they are connected to each and every other node, then I can say it as fully connected graph. But one exception in graph topology, that is the node can be will be in arbitrary fashion. That might be, so it may not have a definite shape. They may be alternatively connected, and the link may exist between the 2 nodes, or they may not be connected at all. So that is nothing but the graph topology. So here this mesh topology, it has been excellent in using for the long distance communication. Long distance communication where it provides an extensive backup, rerouting and pass-through capabilities. So how it may provide you the backup, what is exactly the rerouting. Okay, so and let me explain with an example. Now let me consider this as to be the source, and let me consider this as to be only the destination. Now the data packet may directly pass through here. Again, here the data packet, it consists of the some bits to be sent, okay, original message to be sent, and the source IP address and the destination IP address. Here also the working will be same. So if the data packets reaches to the destination, on identifying the IP address, if it is matches, then this node will accept the data, otherwise it discards the data. It similarly it happens with the other nodes also. So when the data packet reaches, when the data packet willing to reach to through this path to the destination, suppose that here the link, here the cable failure it might be, okay, this path may not be working for us, here it might be certain failure. In that case your destination will not send an acknowledgement to the sender, which we have already studied in TCP IP, that the transport layer of the sender will send an intimation to the destination that before sending the actual data, it will send an intimation, right? So that you are going to receive a packet of 400 KB. So once the data packet reaches, the transport layer at the destination will re-verify whether I have exactly taken the 400 KB packet or not. If no, the acknowledgement will be sent that it is not successfully received with a 400 KB to the transport layer of the sender. Again, the transport layer of the sender will resend the data packet. So same way here also, when the data packet will not arrive at the destination will not send any kind of acknowledgement to the sender. Then the sender will understand that data packet is not successfully reached. In that case, the data packet from this node, again it will resend the data packet by using an alternative path. Okay, this node will send a same data packet once again. So obviously it is nothing but the backup. So that data packet may take an alternative path and may reach to this node, and then this node finally may forward the data packet to the destination. This is nothing but obviously rerouting. Rerouting in the sense taking an alternative path, okay, in order to reach from source to the destination. Backup, obviously a copy of the packet, again somehow it has been reached either through direct or by taking an alternative path. Okay, and here each node has the capability to make the packets to pass through it. That means amplifying the same as in case of the ring topology. See, this mesh topology is extensively used in the long distance communication. Why? Because so as your data is moving from this node, either might be using the direct link or the alternative path, the distance will not be as short here, it will be very long. So as your data packets, now think that this is a source and this has to be the destination. So if your data packet is traveling this way, so your data packet first, by the time it reaches to this node, your signal of your data packet will be very weak. So in that case, this node will make use of an amplifier. Amplifier in the sense it will strengthen the signal. Okay, it will strengthen the signal, and then the data packet from this node will be sent to the destination. Okay, then also one thing is, in mesh topology they may also use the repeaters also, because your data packets are traveling with a long distance, the repeaters will be there. What is the work of repeaters? Repeaters will enhance or regenerate the signal. Because it has been extensively used in the long distance, we need certain alternative networking devices in order to make your packet to reach from source to the destination. Okay, now this kind of communication is being very much ideal for the distributed networks. Distributed network means where you can club more than one different kinds of topology and make it as a one big network. Say for an example, here now these are the examples to show you that it's a mesh topology where you can combine two or more than two. Here if you see this one, here the ring topology and the star topology has been combined. Okay, so I can say this as a a hybrid topology where we have studied in tree topology. Now this can also be in a mesh topology because we have all the nodes are in turn connected with each other, where all the nodes are fully connected. by this you can have the transmission over the long distance. Now they might be in a different cities. Now you can see this is hybrid with a star. Okay, now here it is a bus topology also. You can also have a star topology also here, isn't it? Now here it's a clear picture, obviously, wherein the bus and star topology. So when we do this, when we want to send our data packets over a long distance, then we have to club the more than one different network topologies. Hence it is very much ideal for the distributed network. Distributed network means clubbing or merging of two different kinds of topologies as one, and making connection with each and every node over the by using the internet. That is nothing but the distributed networks. So this was the completion. We have completed all the different kinds of topologies. Okay, so in our next video we are going to study about the transmission media. So take care of yourself. Bye.